The space market of Viereck Station was loud, crowded, and cold. Bright lights floated above metal streets, and strange voices filled the air. Creatures from many worlds came here to trade machines, food, weapons, and sometimes lives. No one questioned it anymore. In the center of the market, a small platform stood higher than the rest. A trader slammed his claw on a metal table and shouted in a sharp voice, "Next item." Two guards pulled forward a small alien child. She was thin and weak, her skin pale blue, with dark marks across her arms. A heavy chain was locked around her neck. The chain was too big for her small body. Dragging on the ground as she walked, she could not be more than 8 cycles old. The child did not cry. She had cried before, many times. Now her eyes were empty, staring at the ground. She already knew no one would help her. The trader spoke loudly. "This one is defective. Low intelligence. No future value." Her own species abandoned her. A screen lit up behind him, showing symbols and data. Red marks flashed beside her name. "Sold for credits only." The trader continued. "No return." Creatures in the crowd looked up for a moment. Some laughed. Some turned away. Others checked their credit counters. No one asked who she was. No one asked what she felt to them. She was not a child. She was a thing. The trader pointed at her with a sharp claw. "Start the bidding." A few hands raised. The numbers were low. Very low. "She is useless," someone said. "Too weak," another voice replied. "She won't survive long anyway." Each word fell like a stone on the child's heart. She remembered her home world. She remembered being pushed forward by her own people. She remembered their cold eyes when they traded her away. "You are worthless," they had said. "You bring shame." The bidding slowed. The trader looked bored. "Final offer," he said. That was when the human noticed her. He stood at the edge of the crowd, taller than most, wearing a dark travel coat. His face was calm, unreadable. He had been watching the market for hours, saying nothing. He had seen many things here. He had learned one truth. The galaxy was cruel. When no one stopped it, the human stepped forward. The sound of his boots echoed softly on the metal floor. Some creatures turned their heads. Humans were rare in this sector. The trader looked surprised. "A human," he said. "You wish to bid?" The human's eyes moved to the child. For a brief moment, their gazes met. The child flinched and looked away, expecting pain, commands. Or worse, she had learned not to hope. "Yes," the human said calmly. His voice was steady and clear. "How much?" The market grew quiet. The trader blinked. "You want this one?" he asked. "She has no value. No skills, no future." The human did not answer right away. He took one more step forward. "How much?" he repeated. The trader smiled, showing sharp teeth. "For a human? Double the price." The crowd watched with interest now. Some whispered. Some laughed. Humans waste credits on feelings. Someone said the trader named the price. The child closed her eyes. She thought this human would walk away, like the others, instead. The human lifted his wrist and transferred the credits without a word. The trader's device beeped. Payment received. It announced. The trader laughed. "Congratulations," he said. "She is yours." The guards pushed the child forward and unlocked the platform gate. The chain around her neck remained. The human walked toward her. Each step made her body tense. She prepared herself for a new kind of suffering. The human stopped in front of her. He looked down at the chain. Then he looked at her face. For the first time in a long while. Someone looked at her like she mattered. The human reached into his coat. The child's breath stopped. The crowd leaned in. Waiting, the human pulled out a small metal key, and the market went silent. Asterisk. The metal key clicked softly. The chain around the alien child's neck fell to the ground with a heavy sound. It echoed across the space market like a warning bell. For a moment, no one spoke. The child froze. She did not move. She did not breathe. Chains were never removed here. The trader's smile slowly faded. "What are you doing?" he asked. The human said nothing. He stepped back and gave the child space, as if he feared scaring her. "You are free," he said quietly. The words made no sense to her. Free was not a word meant for someone like her. The crowd reacted at once. Free. Someone laughed. He paid full credits and gives her away. Humans are foolish. The trader crossed his arms. "She belongs to you now," he said. "Do what you want, but don't act like this place cares." The child looked down at the broken chain on the floor. Her legs trembled. Slowly, she lifted one foot and stepped back. Nothing happened, no shock, no pain. Her heart began to beat faster. She took another step. Still nothing. The child looked up at the human. Her eyes were wide, filled with fear and confusion. "Go," the human said softly. "You don't have to stay here." She shook her head quickly. I have nowhere," she whispered in a weak voice. Her words came out broken, like she had not spoken in a long time. The human nodded. "Then come with me," he said. "By choice." That word again, choice. She did not understand it, but something in his voice felt different. Not kind like stories, but calm. "Safe. The trader scoffed. "You'll regret this," he said. "That one brings trouble." The human finally looked at him. "Then it will be my trouble," he replied. He turned and walked away from the platform. The child hesitated. The crowd waited. Silent now, slowly, carefully. She followed. Every step felt unreal as they moved through the market. Eyes followed them. Some were curious. Some were angry. Others were afraid. A tall, armored creature spoke loudly. "Human," it said, blocking their path. "Why protect a useless child?" The human stopped. "She is not useless," he answered. "She cannot work. She cannot fight," the creature replied. "She can live," the human said simply. The creature snorted and stepped aside. They reached a docking bay. A small human ship waited there. It was old but clean. The child stopped again. Ships were where bad things happened. The human noticed her fear. "You don't have to go inside," he said. "Not until you are ready." She stared at the ship's open door. Then she looked back at the market behind her, the chains, the shouting, the cold eyes. Slowly, she stepped onto the ship. The door closed quietly. Inside, the ship was warm. Soft lights glowed along the walls. The child stood still, unsure where to go. The human removed his coat and placed it gently around her shoulders. It was too big, but it was warm. She flinched at first, then relaxed. "Sit," he said, pointing to a small seat. She obeyed. The ship lifted off outside. Vurek Station grew smaller. The child watched through the window as the place that Scout had broken her faded into the dark. For the first time, tears rolled down her face. The human did not speak. He gave her space to cry. After a while, she asked a quiet question. "Why?" she said. "Why me?" The human took a deep breath. "Because someone once did the same for me," he replied. She looked at him, confused. He did not explain. Instead, alarms suddenly flashed on the ship's control panel. A cold voice filled the cabin. "Unregistered human vessel," it said. "You are under observation." The human's eyes narrowed. The child's heart sank. Even now, they were not safe. The human placed his hand on the controls. "Looks like the galaxy noticed." He said calmly. The child held the coat tighter around her small body. Outside the ship, distant lights began to follow them. The ship moved faster, leaving the station lights behind. Long lines of stars stretched across the window. The child held the coat tightly, her small hands shaking. She had never been inside a place like this. No chains, no guards. No shouting voices, only quiet. The alarm stopped, but the silence felt heavy. She looked at the human, afraid to speak. He sat at the control seat, eyes focused ahead. His face was calm, but his body was alert. "They are watching," he said. "But they are not stopping us." The child swallowed. "Why would they watch us?" She asked softly. "Because humans don't do what the galaxy expects," Achi replied. She did not understand, but his voice made her feel less afraid. The ship entered open space. The stars slowed. The human pressed a final control. "We are safe for now," he said. The child's shoulders relaxed slightly. She looked down at her hands. They were thin, marked with scars. Slowly, she pulled the coat tighter, as if it could hide everything she was. "Am I still yours?" she asked. The human turned to face her. "No," he said. "You belong to yourself." The words hit her harder than any pain before. She shook her head. "That is not possible," she whispered. "Someone always owns me." The human stood up and walked closer. He knelt in front of her, so his eyes were level with hers. "Not anymore," he said. "I did not buy you to own you. I bought you to free you." Her breath stopped. She searched his face for lies. She had been lied to before. Many times, but she saw none. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now," the human said, "you decide." Decide. Her mind felt dizzy. She had never decided anything. Where to go. What to eat. When to sleep. Freedom was not a gift. It was a weight. "I don't know how," she said. "That's okay," he replied. "You will learn." He stood and moved away, giving her space again. The child looked around the ship. There was food on a small table. Real food, warm and fresh. She stared at it, unsure. "You can eat," the human said without turning. "No one will stop you." Slowly, she reached out. Her hands trembled as she picked up the food. She took a small bite. Her eyes widened. It was the best thing she had ever tasted. Tears filled her eyes again. But this time, they felt different. Later, the ship drifted quietly. The child sat near the window, watching the stars. The human checked systems and read data screens. After a long silence, she spoke again. "They said I was broken," she said. "They said I had no future." The human paused. "They were wrong," he said. "How do you know?" she asked. "Because the galaxy is often wrong about humans," he replied. "And we survive anyway." She did not fully understand, but she liked the sound of it. Suddenly, a new signal appeared on the main screen. Multiple ships, unknown design. The human's face hardened. "They found us faster than I hoped," he muttered. The child felt fear rise again. "Will they take me back?" The human shook his head. "No one takes what is free," he said. The signal opened. A cold, clear voice filled the ship. "Human vessel," it said. "Return the asset. You have violated trade law." The child shrank back, her body remembering pain. The human stood tall. "She is not an asset," he said. "She is a person." Silence followed, then laughter. "Your kind is emotional," the voice replied. "You will learn." The ships moved closer. The child looked at the human fear in her eyes. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "I won't let them hurt you," he said. "How?" She whispered. The human smiled slightly. "Because they forgot something," he said. Humans don't give up what we protect. He turned back to the controls. The ship's engines began to glow brighter than before. Outside, the stars shifted. The child watched in awe. For the first time, someone was fighting for her, not because of profit, not because of duty, but because he chose to. And somewhere, deep inside her, something new began to grow. Hope *, the human ship, did not slow down. Stars bent and stretched as the engines pushed harder. The child held the seat tightly, her heart racing. Outside the window, 3 large ships followed them, their dark shapes cutting through space. "They are still coming," she whispered. "Yes," the human replied. "Because they believe rules matter more than lives." A warning flashed across the screen. "Final notice, stop your vessel." The human ignored it. A new message appeared, this time with a symbol of authority. Galactic observation in effect. The child did not understand the words, but she felt their weight. "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means," the human said calmly, "that the galaxy is paying attention now." The pursuing ships stopped firing. They moved into a wide formation instead, surrounding the human ship, but keeping their distance. They were watching, recording, judging. The human lowered the ship's speed. Not because he was afraid, but because he wanted to be seen. A channel opened. A tall alien figure appeared on the screen, wearing the mark of the Galactic Council. Its voice was cold and clear. "Human," it said, "you have broken a legal trade agreement." The human stood straight. "I ended an illegal one," he replied. The council figure tilted its head. "The child was sold by her own species," it said. "That makes it lawful." The child's body froze. Her past returned in sharp flashes her people's faces. Their silence the moment they turned away. The human spoke before she could sink into fear. "Lawful does not mean right," he said. A quiet ripple spread. Through the watching ships, the council figure paused. "You challenge long-standing galactic order." It said. "Yes," the human answered. "I do." The child looked at him, surprised. No one had ever challenged anything for her. "Return the child," the council demanded. "This will end quietly." The human shook his head. "No," he said. "This will end honestly." The channel cut. The child felt panic rise again. "What will they do?" she asked. "They will decide if truth matters," the human replied. Minutes passed in silence. The ships around them stayed still, like predators waiting. Then another signal arrived. This time, not private, public. The human screen filled with many-face, different species. Different worlds, traders, officials, observers. The galaxy was watching live. The child shrank back. "I don't want them to see me," she whispered. The human turned to her. "They need to," he said gently. "They need to see what their system creates." The broadcast began. A voice announced, "This is an emergency galactic review." The council figure returned. "Human," it said, "state your reason." The human took a breath. "I bought the child because her own people called her worthless," he said. "Because the market treated her like an object. Because no one else stopped it." The crowd on the screen stirred. She was legally traded. The council replied. The human's voice stayed calm. "She is a child," he said, "and no law that sells children deserves to survive." Silence spread. The child felt tears fill her eyes. She did not understand politics or laws, but she understood one thing. Someone was speaking for her. The council turned its gaze to the child. "Do you confirm this account?" it asked. Her heart pounded. She looked at the human. He nodded slowly. She swallowed and stepped closer to the screen. "Yes," she said in a small voice. "They sold me." The galaxy saw her scars, the marks on her arms, the fear in her eyes. The silence grew. Heavier, the council figure shifted. "This hearing is noted," it said carefully. The broadcast ended. The surrounding ships pulled back slightly. "They are afraid now," the human said. "Of what?" The child asked. "Of being seen for who they are," he replied. The ship moved again. Slow and steady. The child sat back down, exhausted. "What happens next?" she asked. The human looked ahead. "Next," he said, "they decide if the galaxy changes, or if humans must force it to." The stars ahead seemed brighter. Behind them, the watching ships followed at a distance, not chasing, observing. The child leaned back, her eyes heavy, for the first time. The galaxy was not ignoring her, and that scared it. Asterisk. The human ship entered the neutral zone. It was a place where weapons were silent and words carried more power than fire. The surrounding ships kept their distance as the signal from the Galactic Council locked onto the human vessel. Inside the ship, the child sat quietly, her hands folded in the coat that still smelled like safety. "Are they going to judge us?" she asked. "They will try," the human replied. "But today, they must listen." A beam of light surrounded the ship. Space seemed to fold, and then everything went still. The council chamber appeared on the main screen. It was massive. Tall shapes of many species filled the circular hall. Cold lights reflected off, like metal walls carved with ancient symbols. The human stood alone. The child stood beside him. No chains, no guards. The council speaker rose. "Human," it said, "you forced this gathering." "Yes," the human answered. "Because silence has lasted too long." A low sound spread through the chamber. Some called it anger. Others called it fear. "You disrupted lawful trade," the speaker said. The human's voice did not rise. "I disrupted cruelty," he replied. The council pointed toward the child. "Her species sold her," it said, "by galactic law. The matter ends there." The child's chest tightened. The human stepped forward. "Law without conscience is just permission to harm," he said. The chamber went quiet. "You claim moral authority." An alien voice asked. "No," the human replied. "I claim responsibility." He tapped the control panel. Images appeared around the chamber. Market, recordings, chains, bidding voices, the child's face on the platform. Some council members turned away. "This is not rare," one voice said. "It is how the galaxy works." "That is the problem," the human said. Another image appeared. Data streams, trade numbers, broken lives hidden behind credits. "You profit from pain," the human continued, "and call it order." The child felt her legs shake. She wanted to hide. The human felt it and placed himself slightly in front of her. "Humans were once traded too," he said. "Used, owned, broken." The chamber stirred. "We ended it," the human said. "Not because it was easy, but because it was wrong." "Your history is irrelevant," the council replied. The human looked up. "It is a warning," he said. A deep silence followed. The council speaker leaned forward. "What do you want?" it asked. The human answered without hesitation. "End child trade," he said. Across all systems, murmurs exploded through the chamber. "That would disrupt economies," someone protested. "Yes," the human said. "It would." The child looked up at him, shocked. "Economy or conscience?" he asked the chamber. "Choose." The council turned to the child again. "Speak," it commanded. Her breath caught. The human looked at her gently. "You don't have to," he said softly. She took a step forward anyway. "They said I had no future," she said, her voice shaking but clear. "But he saw me." The chamber watched. I am not broken, she continued. I was hurt. Something changed in the room. Not agreement, but discomfort. The council speaker slowly sat back. This hearing will decide. Galactic precedent, it said. The human nodded. Then let history remember what you choose, he replied. The lights dimmed. The council entered. Deliberation time passed. The child leaned against the human. What if they say no? She asked. The human looked down at her. Then humans will remember, he said. And we do not forget injustice. A final tone echoed. The council returned. By majority decision, the speaker announced. Child trade is suspended. The chamber erupted, suspended, not ended. The human's eyes hardened. The child felt confusion. That's not enough, she whispered. The human nodded. It never is, he said. He looked up at the council. Then this is not over, he said. Calmly, the galaxy felt the weight of that sentence. Asterisk. The council chamber faded from the screen. The human ship was released from the neutral zone and drifted into open space. Outside, the stars looked calm. But the galaxy was not. News spread faster than any ship. A human had stood against the council. A child had spoken. And the galaxy had been forced to listen. Inside the ship, the child sat quietly. Her body felt tired, but her mind would not rest. Did we win? She asked softly. The human did not answer right away. We changed something, he said at last. That is more dangerous than winning. She did not understand why change could be dangerous. Soon, messages began to flood the ship's systems. Some were angry. Some were fearful. Others were curious. One message repeated again and again. Humans are unpredictable. The human smiled slightly when he read it. They are learning, he said. The child looked at him. Learning what? That humans don't stop halfway, he replied. A new signal appeared. This one carried the mark of her own species. The child froze. Her people. The screen opened. Elders filled the display, their faces stiff with shame and fear. You have embarrassed us, one elder said coldly. You were never meant to survive. The child shrank back. The human stepped forward. She survived because she was given a chance. He said, you interfered? Another elder said. Our traditions are broken. The human cut in. And now the galaxy knows. The elders fell. Silent, you will return the child, one demanded. The human's voice stayed calm. No, he said. The child felt her heart race. You have no claim, the human continued. You traded her away. You lost that right. The elder's image flickered. You will pay for this, one hissed. The human leaned closer to the screen. We already have, he said, for too long. The signal cut. The child's hands shook. They hate me, she whispered. The human knelt beside her. They fear what you represent, he said. Proof that they were wrong. She looked at him with wide eyes. Wrong about what? About value, he replied. The ship changed course. Where are we going? She asked. To Earth, he said. The word meant nothing to her, but his tone made it feel safe. As they traveled, the child learned new things. She learned how to eat without fear, how to sleep without chains, how to speak without asking permission. She learned her name mattered. The human never ordered her. He asked. Each question felt strange. Powerful days passed. Reports reached them. Trade hubs were closing. Protests were rising. Other species began to question their own markets. Some blamed humans. Some followed them. The council released a statement. Human influence destabilizes galactic order. The human read it. Aloud, the child looked worried. Are we in danger? She asked. Yes, he said honestly. She nodded slowly. So, we keep going? She asked. The human smiled. Exactly. The ship finally reached a blue-green world. Earth. The child pressed her face to the window, amazed by oceans and clouds. No chains there. She asked quietly. Never, the human said as the ship descended. She felt something new, belonging, but far away. In dark space, other eyes watched. Military fleets. Gathered. Council members. Whispered. Humans were no longer silent, and that frightened the galaxy. The child felt the ship land. She looked up at the human. Why did you choose me? She asked again. This time, he answered fully. Because when humans see someone left behind, he said, we remember who we are. She held on to those words. Because soon, the galaxy would test them. Years passed. The galaxy changed slowly. But it did change. On Earth, the alien child grew. Not in chains, not in fear, but in light, learning, and choice. Humans did not treat her as a symbol. They treated her as a person. She learned to read human words. She learned to ask questions. She learned that mistakes were not punishments. Her scars faded, but her memory remained. She remembered the market. She remembered the chains. And she remembered the human who said, you are free. That human never called himself a hero. He became something else, a protector. Across the galaxy, trade laws began to crack. Some species resisted. Some adapted. But one truth spread faster than fear. Humans interfere, and they do not apologize. The Galactic Council called it instability. Others called it hope. The child, now older, stood before a council chamber again. But this time, she was not small. She was strong. She wore no chains. Only a simple symbol of Earth beside her own species. Mark, the council speaker, addressed her. You are the reason for these changes, it said. She shook her head. No, she replied calmly. I am the result. Murmurs filled the chamber. You survive because of humans. One voice said. She looked around. I survive because someone chose to care, she said. Humans simply acted on it. The galaxy watched. Species that once sold their young now questioned themselves. Markets closed. Laws rewrote. Slowly, painfully, not because humans demanded it, but because the truth had been seen. After the session, she walked outside onto a wide platform overlooking space. The humans stood there, older now, but still calm. They listen to you, he said. They listen because they are afraid, she replied. He nodded. That's how change starts. She looked out at the stars. Do you think they will ever forgive humans? She asked. The humans smiled slightly. We don't need forgiveness, he said. We need results. Below them, ships from many worlds waited. Not to attack, to talk, to learn. A message arrived from her home species. Short, careful. We were wrong. She read it once, then closed it. Do you want to answer? The human asked. She thought for a moment. No, she said. They must learn to live with it. He nodded. Proud but silent. The galaxy now called her a leader. She never called herself that. She called herself free. One day, a young alien stood before her, small, afraid, labeled worthless by their own kind. The cycle tried to repeat, but this time, it failed. She knelt down to the child's level. You are not broken, she said. You are early. The child looked confused. She smiled. So was I. Far away. The Galactic Council issued a final record. Human interference permanently altered. Galactic ethics. Humans read it and laughed. They had a simpler name for it. Doing the right thing as the human ship once. Again prepared to leave Earth. The human looked at her. Ready? He asked. She nodded. Always. They stepped aboard not to rescue, but to stand. Because the galaxy had learned something it could never forget. They called her worthless. They traded her for credits, but humans saw her value, and once humans decide something matters, the universe adjusts.